Okay, I have a question for you. Are you a pyromaniac? And do you like explosions? If the answer is yes to either of those, or none, neither, either way, I have a new build for you. A solar build which is fully focused on scorching a bunch of targets and blowing a lot of crap up. This build focuses on Khepri's Horn, which scorches targets, and the Incendiary Grenade and Hammer Strike melee, which just blows everything up. So, yeah, let's just get straight into the build. So, today's build is a solar build. I'm using Sunbreaker, Burning Maul, although either Burning Maul or Hammer of Soul is fine. Rally Barricade, Catapult Lift, Hammer Strike, Incendiary Grenade, Soul Invictus, Roaring Flames, Ember of Searing, Char, Ashes, and Singeing. Rally Barricade because its time is 10 seconds less than Towering Barricade. You want to get the Khepri's Horn solar wave out as fast as possible. I'll explain that later. Hammer Strike because, well, killing them ignites them, which is good. And it scorches your target and deals damage in a cone behind them, which is also very useful. Incendiary Grenade because it scorches very well. Soul Invictus because you get sunspots. Sunspots are extremely useful. Roaring Flames to do extra solar ability damage and, well, ignitions. Ember of Searing because defeating scorched targets grants melee energy and creates a fire sprite, and the fire sprites grant grenade energy, but it's also because of the plus 10 recovery. Ember of Char, where your solar ignition spreads scorch to affected targets. Ember of Ashes, where you apply more scorch stacks to targets. And Ember of Singeing, where your class ability recharges faster when you scorch targets. Now this build is focused around Khepri's Horn, which exotic perk is Solar Final Blows, Recharge your Barricade, which unleashes a blast of solar energy that scorches targets when summoned. The mods I'm using are Heavy Ammo Finder, Scout, and Harmonic Siphon. Harmonic Siphon to get Orbs of Power off Solar Blows, and then Heavy Ammo Scout and Finder because you just really want Heavy Ammo, and this just, it's an extra slot, you can give it to anything else. But if you have fully masterworked it, then you can replace this with Kinetic Siphon or something else to make different Orbs of Power, or different mod entirely, like, I don't know, anything you want really. On my arms I just have Firepower and Grenade Kickstart because it is mostly a barricade build, but because of the fragment which increases your barricade or your class ability recharge rate, and how Solar Final Blows recharge your barricade with Khepri's, you don't really need the utility kickstart, so Grenade Kickstart and Firepower is useful here, so that you can also create Orbs of Power of Grenade Final Blows. On your chest plate, run whatever resistance you need in your activity, anything you want. On your legs, I went with Stacks on Stacks, Solar Weapon Surge, and Innovation. Stacks on Stacks is just really useful because you get that extra stack of armor charge on Orb of Power pickup. Solar Weapon Surge to do extra damage with solar weapons because this is a solar build. And Innovation where it reduces grenade cooldown each time you pick up an Orb of Power. On my mark, I've got Time Dilation, Powerful Attraction, and Bomber. Time Dilation, so you have a longer time to use Solar Weapon Surge. Powerful Attraction, because this is a barricade build, Powerful Attraction will collect Orbs of Power, well, all the time, as long as they're generated. And then Bomber, which reduces grenade cooldown when using your class ability energy. The weapons I'm using are a crate, any auto rifle, or any primary is fine here. On my secondary, using Jotun. To be honest, you can use any solar, any solar exotic or weapon which has incandescent or something which scorches targets, so you just get a lot more explosions. And then for my heavy, I'm using the Unwavering Duty, which has incandescent, which is again scorch targets to get more ignitions, because this is an ignition build basically. So yeah, that's it. Now the artifact mods you want for this build, there aren't any solar artifact mods. You just want any barrier, any champion mod. None of these work for you because we're using nothing that affects this. Nothing here except Deeper Origins, I guess, if you're using one of the seasonal weapons. Overcharged Armory if you're using the seasonal weapons again, and Countercharge where because I mean there's nothing else. This is just all the basic stuff which doesn't really affect anything. It's just very passive, not really specific to a build. But yeah, that's it for the artifact mod. Okay, so the build tutorial. This build is, as I said it before, an ignition build, where it doesn't really matter in which order you do this. It's mostly just as long as you get enough scorch. So an incendiary grenade plus the Capri's Horn fire wave will ignite a target, I am pretty sure. And then also ignition grenade plus killing a nearby target with incandescent will also, I think, proc an ignition, or close to one. And then, yeah, a hammer strike will instantly ignite targets. So I guess the main focus is to just kill, or not kill, but if there is a giant group of ads, and not and even if they're minor ads and they have like no health, you can still do this. But the main idea is to just scorch a lot and then blow them up with ignitions over and over and over again, because the fragments and mods and aspects and everything paired together will make it so that you have enough abilities to repeatedly do this, as long as you get kills and all power drops. There are times where you'll completely run out of abilities, but I guess that's what your incandescent weapons are for. That's basically how the build works. I guess for weapons I do recommend using Mida Mini Tool. That is also a very good incandescent weapon. I think I do not know if Sunshot gives Scorch or not. If it does, then Sunshot's also quite useful. But yeah, that's the build tutorial. Okay, strengths and weaknesses. So I'll start off with the strengths of this build. Okay, so this build is, well, very good at clearing ads, as it should be, since it explodes a lot of stuff. Against bigger targets, it also works because you just scorch them like a lot, and then they blow up, and it does tons of damage. And ignitions always do critical damage, I've seen, so that's good. Same as a scorch. When I think they're scorched and they're just high enough to get an ignition, it crit strikes them. But yeah, that's mostly what it's good at. And I would say, yeah, it is very good at doing that kind of thing. But weakness-wise, I took it into a deep dive where, well, enemies get harder and harder over time. I saw that it's kinda hard to stay alive with this. It doesn't, you have sunspots, but because you have to go to the sunspots and you can't really create them at will. I mean, you can create them at will with solar ability blows, but not exactly, well, regularly, or at least when you need them, I guess. Because, I mean, if you're about to die and you're like, oh, I need to kill an enemy to heal, you know, that's not very useful. But, I guess it's also, you can't really be extremely careful. I mean, you have a half barricade, which doesn't really protect you, and then a grenade and a melee, which procs. I mean, the grenade is good, so I guess if you're like far enough away and you can activate the barricade and the grenade, or the grenade and then the barricade, then you can, ignite pretty easily. But for the melee, I guess that's more of a, I don't know, if you don't have anything else, then use the melee in a higher level activity. And also it won't instant kill them, so it will just apply Scorch, where you just melee and then grenade or barricade, or all three. But everything else will incandescent. Incandescence can also only proc if you kill the target, so you have to be careful with that, and how you might not be able to apply Scorch all the time. I mean, it'd be great if there was a, well, that's why I recommend using a special weapon, because it does more damage, but it'd be great if there was a perk which, you know, it will scorch targets based on prolonged shooting of the target. I guess it would work well for like a trace rifle or something. But I mean, maybe there is one. Maybe Prometheus Lens does that, or close to it, where that would be useful. But yeah, that's mostly it for strengths and weaknesses. Okay, it's outro time. I hope you enjoyed the video and the new format. Well, it's not really a format, but the new transition thing. I think it works a lot better than the old one, where it's just fade to black and black background with the words for each section. But yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed again. Hope you have a good day. I think because there's a lot of Strand, Strand, Void, and Arc artifact mods this season, I'll try to focus more on those three. Maybe a new Arc build since I've only got one, or a Strand build since I've only got one, or a Void build since I've only got one. Wow, this is really a pattern, isn't it? But soon enough, I guess, you can just return to old videos just because the artifact mod has changed and they have, well, artifact mods that suit more to that build. But yeah, I'll try to, I'm actually working on a Strand PvP build right now, which will release sooner than 3 weeks, which was this upload, which I'm sorry about. Mostly because I mean, I've got a bunch of builds lined up now, but it's mostly because I didn't have any exotics to work with. I mean, with like every single Titan exotic, it is kind of hard to find new stuff to make builds with, or new builds in general. So yeah, yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.